Well, look, I don't know what to say. Thank you so much to the Royal Society Te Apārangi for this honour, and, to those people who very kindly nominated me for this honour. I'm very grateful. Thank you very much indeed. Now, I was planning to hide in the shadows about one particular detail, and that is that, given this audience, I think I can come out into the sunlight. In fact, to be honest, stage 4 cancer. I know the inside of the hospitals like the back of my hand. All of it, chemotherapy right, left and centre, all sorts of other interventions, culminating in an allogenic stem cell transplant from a donor who lives in Dresden in Germany. And I'm very grateful, and I'm doing very well at the moment. What can I say other than that I think that, given the audience here, I'm happy to admit it. It has left me with residual lung damage, so please understand if the communication is a bit woolly here and there. I'm not communicating anything that is contagious. So look, what can I do? I came to New Zealand from the Republic of Ireland, specifically to take degrees in physics and mathematics at Victoria University. Along the way, there was a close encounter. Now, I have to explain this. In 1983 and 1984, I was employed as a scuba diver and a research assistant at a marine laboratory. We're doing things like, fish counts, kingfish, snapper counts and those sorts of things. Algae and mollusk biology and reproduction, that kind of stuff. Crayfish and lobster biology and reproduction, and much, much more. And on any given day, I could be 3 or 4 times out into the ocean at depths of, say, 10 to 20 meters. It was all great fun. I can look back on those years, and here I have a dive log for some of the dives that I was doing, research dives. Here, I was assisting on the 18th of December 1983, a guy called Chris Battersill. Some of you may know him. He's a professor of marine sciences. So this was the 18th of December of 83, depth 62 feet. First dive with Chris Battersill helping with sponge counts for his PhD, you name it. Comment, fun but very cold. All right, so that was that. And then there's somebody else. Who is this? There's plenty of other things. Who's another one? Yeah, echinoderms and grazing and so forth. These are the kinds of things that we were doing. And so there was this particular event. I think the best thing for me to do is to read from the write-up that I wrote up just very shortly after the event. So what happened? Well, one evening, in very bad weather, big waves, rain and darkness, I went out with a group of researchers to a dive site 10 to 12 kilometres out to sea. We were concerned about the performance of equipment. Doesn't matter what the equipment was. I think it was to measure ocean current velocity, salinity and temperature. We did our dive, and I was the last to surface. The weather was even more dreadful by then, and the boat had departed. And so I spent the night at sea, believe it or not, all that distance out to sea, all on my own. Unbelievable. I had the good luck to spot a yellow mooring buoy. You can see what a mooring buoy looks like. I spotted this in the distance and snorkeled my way over to it, and managed to grab the chain. You see that they're attached to the seabed using a chain. Grabbed onto it with both hands, wrapped my legs around the chain for additional security, and then settled in for a very long night out indeed. So next, how do we click this? How do you? Oh, here we go. So look, I made a note. I had photographs at the time. These are more recent photographs. Waves like the one in the picture on the left look intimidating, but they were my environment for that night. They look intimidating, but you ride them up and down. But breaking waves, like the one on the right-hand side, are bad news. They create turbulence, which threatens to knock you off your perch. And a very strong current that had developed during the middle of the night will take you out into infinity. Now, the next one, next slide is this. This was actually taken in New Zealand. Several of these had been sighted by everyone on the main research vessel in the vicinity the day before. They were all estimated at 5 to 6 meters long. I was very conscious of all of this. And so, excuse me, when at midday the next day, I was spotted and dragged to safety at the back of a small boat. The relief was considerable. I have to say, I can laugh at it now, it was an absolutely appalling experience, and I wouldn't wish it on anyone. But I mean, it was Friedrich Nietzsche who once said that what does not kill you makes you stronger. Well, let's hope so. So there's basically how it all ended, because right through the procedure, there was no guarantee that anyone was going to get to you, before it was too late. So, very happy to actually still be here. Now, look, after that, I finished my honours degree in physics with a major in pure and applied mathematics, master's degree in geophysics, and then it was right for me to do some teaching. So all of my teaching was pretty much at the, the NCA level 3 equivalent, the old bursary in 7th form, in calculus, statistics, and physics, and that was, Samuel Morrison Girls College, a couple of years at Rongotai, and then a year with the scholarship maths students at Scots College. Then over to Australia for a PhD, excuse me, where I have to say it, I was the very fortunate recipient of wonderful supervision from a very attentive and supportive supervisor, Darryl Fisher, and I owe him a debt of gratitude. Then, nearly a decade in research evaluation at the Foundation for Research, Science and Technology, much of it looking retrospectively at outcomes from public funded research across the universities and the research institutes, but actually some of it looking prospectively in relation to funding decision making. And it was actually here where, quite frankly, I formed a very positive view of New Zealand's research effort across many domains of research, especially in view of our, rather low spend on research and development here in New Zealand, certainly by comparison with Europe, the OECD, Japan, Korea, the States, and so forth. Then, what did I do? Oh, yes. Half a dozen years as a statistician and quantitative researcher in agricultural production, forestry areas and production, land use, and the provision of climate change statistics. All of this culminating in a trip to Seoul, Korea, for an international conference on official statistics, where I gave an address on New Zealand's system of official statistics. And in the background, you see the hotel in the district of Gangnam in Seoul, where this symposium was held. I don't know whether any of you remember that popular song, Gangnam Style. Do any of you remember that song? Okay. So anyway, that's the district of Gangnam. I presume that's where the song comes from. Now, after that, what did I do? Oh, yes. Here at the Royal Society of New Zealand, before it became known as the Royal Society Te Apārangi, working with a panel, the National Science Panel at the time, examining New Zealand's wider innovation system, the mandates of our universities and other non-university tertiary providers, excuse me, the roles of our research institutions, both public and private, and how these agents interface with each other and with other agents within the wider innovation system, especially with end users, to stimulate innovation, lift productivity, and generate outcomes for the people and the economy and the environment. After that, excuse me, half a dozen years as quantitative researcher and statistician at NZQA in education. And here I formed another very positive impression, this time of R, and I'm sure that many of you know about R, statistical graphing and programming environment. I made R a mainstay of my career. And I've written a lot of teaching material on advanced statistical modelling in R and taught hundreds of people online. But in 2014, I was invited by a British publishing house to write a book on graphing in R. I was invited to write other books on, statistical methods in R. I haven't actually published that stuff. But anyway, this book indeed sold, I think, altogether, 3,500 copies. I regard it as somewhat trivial in some ways, but I do hope that some people have been able to derive some benefit from it. Then I finished my career as a senior academic manager and lecturer in statistics and research methods, and that brought my career to a close. Now, how long do I have? Do I have a minute or two still left? 1 minute. I have to keep this very quick. There's a lot I want to say, but I can't say it all, keeping to the 8 minutes. I had to retire because of this illness, but over the last few years I've become a counsellor for people suffering from cancer, mostly at Wellington Hospital. And I have interactions with people who are at end of life. I feel that that's a conversation for another place, but I pay special attention to people undergoing stem cell transplants at Wellington Hospital. Excuse me. These are the 3 rooms. Here, where allogenic stem cell transplants are undertaken. You get to them through the door on the left. So people in here about to undertake stem cell transplants are clearly very apprehensive because there is a solid chance that they're not going to make it. But I say to them, look, grasp this opportunity with both hands. The statistics around survival following stem cell transplants are better than ever, and keep positive. Now, I see other people as well, not just those undergoing stem cell transplants. And I'll finish up on this positive note, that at Wellington Hospital and around New Zealand, we have wonderful people in our hospitals for all that the public system gets derided, and I'm sure that the problems result from underfunding. But the people are absolutely wonderful. We have wonderful, oncology nurses and doctors. We have outstanding people superintending the stem cell transplant process, and excellent people providing palliative care and wraparound care and support for cancer patients and their families. So on that note, thank you once again to the Royal Society Te Apārangi for this honour, and thanks once again to those people who very kindly nominated me for this honour. Thank you.